I had one of the most intense laughter tantrums I've ever had. Probably I haven't laughed this hard today in over a month. And I was watching South Park. In my personal preference, South Park is it's definitely one of the funniest shows ever made. For me personally, it is the funniest show ever made on TV as far as what I've seen. It's absolutely hilarious, and what I uh, what I have been growing fond of lately, as far as humor goes, is absurd humor, because South Park very much uses just total absurdity. Just absurd. Like, I mean, when I lost my shit today, it was I was watching this clip from South Park on Towley. And so Towley ends up getting addicted to not just marijuana but meth, and Towley is a towel essentially, and he's got a funny voice, and he's got a problem with marijuana. He's addicted to marijuana, but it turns out he wasn't just addicted to marijuana. His addiction carried over to other drugs, and so he had to resort to giving oral sex to older men just so he can fund his habits. That's how absurd. Okay, that's that's how absurd South Park can be. It really takes the absurdity to a whole new level. You've got a towel giving oral sex to older men so he can fund his habits, his drug addictions, and the towel's got this hilarious voice. And yeah, it's very absurd. I find absurd humor to be absolutely hilarious, but it's more than just absurdity. It's also satire and sarcasm. So satire is taking something, a problem, a social problem, and then exaggerating the hell out of it to deliver a point of how trivial or how absurd the situation is. And South Park is also genius when it comes to that, because they will take up a problem, and they're very, I mean, I honestly legitimately think I'm not the only one that looks at South Park as the best one, the best comedy out there right now. And it managed to stay so relevant all this time, because the way Trey and Matt make the show is they don't even submit the episode until like a day before it's supposed to air, you know? And so because of that, they're always able to stay on top of current events. So if you watch the last season 23, they're just right here with the current events, with what's happening. You got Randy with the Integrity Farms, you got the Beyond Meat burgers and the whole thing. So they're very, very right here, and they stay with the current events. And they're just geniuses, and so they'll look at a social problem, a political problem, and they will. Oh, it's a beautiful day. And then they will make fun of everybody involved in it. So they basically take the wind out of everybody, because which I absolutely love, because you know no matter which side you take in any position you take in any political stance, social issue, no matter what it is, there is a tendency, and it's a very, very strong tendency in amongst humans to take the role seriously, because humanity and the third dimension, the 3D consciousness, lives in amnesia. So they don't know what game they're playing, and they don't understand that their consciousness having a human experience, and they're just kind of carrying out roles and playing out a drama. And so because, in this 3D, in this third density reality, we have amnesia, and most of us don't really remember how we even come here, what are we doing in this world, etc. And many of us are stuck in the karma and the reincarnation. Because of it, we end up taking our roles, our current roles, our social roles seriously. And so you have a show like South Park that comes along and says, well, I'm making fun of you. Oh, you think I'm taking your side? No, I'm making fun of you too. So they make fun of vegans, and they make fun of meat eaters. They make fun of people who eat healthy, and they make fun of people who eat unhealthy. They make fun of liberals, and they make fun of conservatives, and they make fun of libertarians, and they make fun of socialists, and they make fun of communists, and they make fun of capitalists. You know, they make fun of everybody. And I just love it. I love it. You know, they use satire to deliver that message, right? Which they'll take something and they'll really exaggerate the hell out of it to deliver a point. Like they in one of the older seasons, they were making fun of climate change, and so Randy Marsh goes with his neighbors, and they it's so funny. They all dress up like as if they're going if they're in the North Pole, right? And and they're obviously sweating like crazy. And Randy Marsh is basically telling his the people around him, you know, and they're like sweating. They're like, we're going through like hyperthermia right now, and it's like, and they're all sweating. They're just full of sweat. It's like, it's so funny. They use the sarcasm, they use the satire just to deliver a point that, you know, okay, fine, you're playing this role, but just like, don't take it seriously. Don't take it too seriously. No matter what role you're playing, you know, you could be here, your role is to change the world, and you go on doing your thing, but just remember that this is like, it's at the end of the day, this is just like a drama. This is just like, you know, I'm sure Matt and Trey are not really, it doesn't seem like they're into much of the much consciousness work or anything, but in many ways their work delivers it in many ways. Like, it seems like they secretly, and they may not even be able to consciously put it like this, but they seem to understand that we're inside some kind of a cosmic drama, some kind of a cosmic theater, some kind of a cosmic play. And that's how South Park appears to me. It appears to me that it looks at everything as a cosmic theater, as a cosmic drama, sees everybody playing these different roles. It's like, if you really want to get into that perspective, try and you know, maybe take a microdose or something like that, or even smoke weed. If you're not seeing it the way I'm seeing it, just try it one time. You'll see it's just like South Park sees the whole thing. It sees that it's all like a game. It's like a cosmic drama. And so the role of South Park is to wake everybody up. It's really funny. It's to wake everybody up by making fun of everybody. Because you wake up when you realize that I am consciousness and everyone else is consciousness, and I'm just playing a role, and I've been taking this role really seriously. Like, you see a lot of people who really take you know, climate change seriously, right? And saving the environment, you know, the light workers, you know, people come here to spread the light, and I admire that. But you see it a lot. They'll take the role too seriously, and then they'll start to harbor resentments and anger towards those people that are destroying the planet, etc., not realizing they're just putting out the same vibration because they took their role too seriously, and they took, you know, what they're here to do too seriously. They forgot the playfulness of everything. They forgot that it's I am consciousness playing with consciousness, that we're carrying out the Leela, the divine dance, through playing our dual parts. I am playing the light worker, you're playing the dark worker. You know, you're spreading dark energy, I'm spreading light energy. This is the game. You're consciousness, I'm consciousness. Let's play this game, and let's keep it playful. You know, take it seriously, but keep it playful at the same time. So it's almost like South Park's role, and I don't even think Matt and Trey, they know this. I think they're just carrying out that. They're just doing it so perfectly without even knowing. You know, they're innocently waking everybody up without even knowing that. They're waking everybody up by making fun of everybody. And to the degree to which you get offended is to the degree to which you have attachments to your social roles. It's to the degree to which you've got to work on yourself. in which you've got to see things from a non-dualistic perspective to gain a higher awareness of everything. So they go out and offend everybody, and it's great. It's great. They go, "Oh, let's offend everybody," and they offend Muslims and Jews and atheists even. And like they'll just anytime they see an opposition, two groups opposing one another. And I think I heard Matt say this in an interview. He says something like this. I'm just paraphrasing. He says something like this. He says, we see there is a problem, and we see that they're fighting amongst one another, and we think it's really funny to make fun of this group and then make fun of their opposition as well. And I think they're just doing it because they think it's funny, but they don't realize that they're actually in a way waking people up. I think in one episode they made fun of Kanye West, and actually, believe it or not, after the episode aired and Kanye West watched the episode, he actually wrote like a thing on his Twitter praising South Park and saying how he actually gave them props for calling him out on his egotistical behavior. And he actually said like that was like in not so many words, he said like they woke me up. They made me realize, like that episode actually made me realize how much of an egomaniac I am. So they're like going around offending everybody, and in that process waking everybody up. In that crazy, they don't even know. I'm sure Matt and Trey don't really know that that's what they're doing, and that's not what they're intending. I just really think they're two hilarious people with a great sense of humor, and they just really think it's funny to make fun of everybody like that. And it's really great. It's the use of absurdity mixed with satire and sarcasm to get the point across. And they're continuously evolving their characters. Randy Marsh, who's like my favorite character on South Park, is sort of become a main character as of late. Not just this season, but it's been like that for the last 5 seasons, which is great. I mean, that episode, Medicinal Fried Chicken, when Randy gets testicular cancer on purpose, and then his balls grow, and then he starts to hop on his balls. Next thing you know, the entire South Park village are hopping on their balls just to get basically legal weed, right? To get medical grade weed, basically, right? So that was hilarious, and it's absurd. It's the way they use absurdity. Like, how absurd is it? I mean, if I watched that scene today, and I couldn't even laugh anymore. It was just straight tears because I couldn't even laugh from my belly anymore. Like, that's how funny it was. I couldn't even laugh anymore. I was just like, it went straight to my eyes, just tears, because it was so hilarious. How absurd is it? You got everybody, hopping on their big giant balls, which they all basically on purpose got cancer, so that they can get legal weed, so that they can get medical weed, essentially. And so that's use of absurdity, and then the use of exaggeration, satire, to get a point across, just to say, like, come on, like, how absurd is this? All these laws, against weed, against, like, they get a point across. They really get a point across, and they make you really, really laugh, and they go on offending everybody. And what happens when you offend everybody is you wake everybody up, because then the person who gets offended, a lot of people, when they get offended, they also realize how absurd it is for them to get offended, how trivial, right? And in that process, maybe they take themselves a little less seriously, and they take their role a little less seriously. So I think it's a great reminder for all of us to continue to dance our dance in the Lila Rasa, in the divine dance, without clinging or attaching to our social roles, and identifying with them as our main identity, but rather a role that we come here to play, and we'll play it magnificently, and we'll play it to its fullest. But we're not gonna hate the other person, the other group. We're not gonna resent them. Because then we're doing the same thing, you know, as a light worker, right? I mean, as a light worker, if you resent the dark side of the force, you're then they got you. Then you are the dark side of the force. Because what is the dark side of the force? It's resentful, it's angry, and it operates on fear. So the minute you step into that vibration is the minute the dark force got you. Okay, plus you can't really hate the dark force because you wouldn't know your position as the light force without the dark force. It's necessary, and it's their consciousness too. Just consciousness going to the dark side of consciousness until eventually, somewhere down the line, it realizes that, okay, this wasn't so smart of me. This isn't who I really am, you know? Anyway, yeah, that's about it. And thank you to Patreons for your support. I love you guys. I appreciate you. If you'd like to donate in either one time on PayPal or become a Patreon for $2 a month, I got links in the description. Saeed Mobile Instagram. And until next time, may the force be with you.